Hey there, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel again. Really great to see you. Now tonight I'm going to be talking a little bit about live streaming and how to make your live stream better. I've got 10 really good ideas that anyone live streaming should sort of consider, at least in their channel, so that they can keep users around longer, make more money off it, and just generally have a better live streaming experience. Stick around and I'll tell you what I've got in mind. So there's live streaming everywhere these days on YouTube. You've got gaming streams, you've got general chat streams, you've got grow streams where people are helping each other grow. You've got churches using live streaming all the time. You've got funeral parlours doing all their business. So many people are doing their business online and using live streaming a lot at the moment. And a lot of these places are making an absolute dog's breakfast of it. So what I've done is I've gone and looked at a whole heap of live streams, and I've picked out 10 things that people can be using to make their live streams so much better online and just maintain the engagement with their audience. You're going to hear that word a lot tonight. So one of the first things that I've noticed on almost every live stream that I've come across recently is that the lighting is subpar. Some of it's even absolutely abysmal, and people just don't seem to be thinking about it very much, and it's really damaging the image that their stream has online, how people are looking at it. So there are a couple of things that I suggest that everybody running a live stream does. First thing is how you orient yourself with the light. Don't shoot with a bright lit window behind you and the camera facing into the light with yourself silhouetted. Your camera is going to try and bring up the detail in your face, and it's going to overexpose you, and you're going to end up with really blotchy, noisy video. We've all seen live streams like this and it's absolutely terrible. Make sure that if you're just using natural light or ambient light for your live stream, that you're facing into the light source and your camera is facing away from it onto you, so that you're well lit. Even if you're not using studio lights or small lights like I've got here, you can at least make sure that the light is around the right way, and it will improve your stream tenfold, and people won't just click away from it. You'll have people sticking around a lot longer. Your engagement will be a lot better. See, I told you I was going to use that word. What you can do other than that is just jump online and spend a few dollars, and you can get something like this for around about $20-30 US, or something like this for about $10 US on AliExpress. I've got links to both of these down below in the description. Go have a look at these. Grab one of these if you're live streaming. What it means is instead of sitting in the dark, you can like have this up here and so much more light on yourself, or even just this little one here. And they're adjustable, and you can tune the light, and some of them you can even change the lighting color. And the final thing about lighting is always try and shoot with daylight white. If you've got something that gives you the color of the light, you want it to be 5500K or 5500 Kelvin, and that's the color that the sun is at midday. That's the best light you want to try and get. That's what your camera's sensor is designed to pick up the best data on. So 5500 Kelvin lights, get a couple of these lights. They're really cheap, and the improvement they'll make to your live stream is phenomenal. Let's have a look at the next point. So now that you got yourself all well lit up, what you want to have another look at is the background, something behind you. Now, if you're shooting a live stream against a plain, white, dull, interesting, featureless back wall, then your whole image is going to look featureless and uninteresting. Put something behind you. What I've got here is something that I've collected up over a little while, but it's just a couple of shelves, and I've got some books on here, I've got some toys, I've got my headphones and some microphones up here. This is my shelf full of lenses, and down here I've just got some storage containers with labels on them. These are things that I've just got sitting around anyway. You have stuff sitting around that might be relevant to your stream and the sort of thing that you're talking about. If not, go find something. Go raid some second-hand stores or some antiques or things, or just get things that you use and display them in an interesting way. The other thing I've got in my background are these lights here, and these lights along here. These are just LED strip lights. You can pick them up as well off AliExpress or eBay or Amazon or wherever you want to go for about $10 US or $15 New Zealand for one of these reels, and that includes shipping. They take 10 minutes to set up. They just run off a USB, and this little remote controller here is all you need to switch color on them. So they do all sorts of colors as well, by the way. They're fantastic at that. So grab yourself something like that as well in a stream or two or a few. You don't need to do these things all at once. Just try and improve one thing every stream. And the more you do these things, the more interesting your stream's going to look. The visual aspect of your stream and what's in your background behind you. Mine's not perfect yet, but I'm improving it one step at a time. And that's going to keep your audience more engaged. It's going to look more interesting. It's going to have better color and everything in it. And at the end of the day, that's what helps your users stick around. Maybe they'll even subscribe. The third point here is to make sure that you've got at least half decent camera. I don't mean you need to go out and spend thousands of dollars on some big fancy cinema camera like I do. These cameras here I'm using, in fact, this one's a Sony Handycam that I picked up, and you can get one of these second hand for a couple of $100s now. This is a little point and click camera that I'm using over here. It's a perfectly good sensor in it, and with a little bit of lighting I'm not getting a grainy image. It's quite a nice image. And I've got a couple of other cameras up here on the shelf as well. You can pick these things up relatively cheap. If you want to, you can use your cell phone. If you're going to use a cell phone as a camera, then I strongly recommend that you check out this video here, because it's got some information on using a cell phone on a camera. You can pick up a cell phone that's 2 or 3 generations old that's got a perfectly good camera for doing this sort of thing for just a couple of $100 or $100 even quite often, and set that up with the software that's in the link I just had up there, and you'll be sweet doing anything, as long as you keep your lighting right and you've got an interesting background. You can see where I'm going here, and your audience will be, what's the chorus, more engaged, and they'll subscribe more, and they'll watch for longer. Do these things. It's excellent. Now for the fourth point. So my fourth point, of course, is sound. Now, we've got really good lighting, we've got a bit of a background, we've got a nice camera up here and another one over here. You can pick up really good sound capture for only $100 or so. What I'm using here, and excuse the noise while I show you this one, there's this little microphone here. This is a Rode VideoMic Micro. It costs about $100. I think it's about $80 US or $60 US or something like that. You can go look it up. You can get these second hand now as well. They've been around a few years. Some people have got them and selling them. There are a whole heap of really good microphones that you can get out there. This Rode one, the Rode type microphones, for me that's sort of the best quality you can get in these microphones. Quite often your camera will have a really good microphone in it anyway, but it won't be directional. If you can get a directional mic, that's even better. And there's a few links below down in the description to some really good microphones that I've found that I recommend that you have a look at and consider. Number 5. If you're live streaming, you're running a business on the internet, and you want to make sure that you don't have a bare bones internet connection. There's a lot of people I can see who tell me that they've got a good camera, they've got good audio, they've got good lighting, but their upload speed is only happening at 10 megabits per second or 8 megabits per second. And then they go and run a really good application like speedtest.net, and you find out that their actual upload speed is only 2 megabits per second. What that means is that the amount of data that you're able to pass up to YouTube of your live stream is only at around about 2 megabits a second, and that's just not enough data to carry a video signal. Go get a decent internet connection. It's even more important than all this other stuff. If you've got all this stuff, it's useless if you can't feed the data to the stream itself. You want to make sure that you're feeding up at least a clean 10 megabits per second. 20 is better. 500 megabits per second, which is what I've got, is even better still. That way you can do your 4K live streams if you want to. The better you can push up, that means you're not going to get all that blocky pixelated edges that you've seen in far too many streams. So get yourself a really good internet connection. Put that little bit of extra money in there. That is the absolute core of your business. You're on the internet. You need to have a good internet feed. So my first 5 pointers are all about how you set up your space around you and the equipment that you need. Now my number 6 point, I had to get the right number of fingers there, is about having a plan for your stream. What are you going to do during it? And while that might sound a sensible thing, it can be kind of tricky. First of all, you need to decide on some sort of subject or theme for your stream. You might be doing a stream that's generally about photography or generally about Formula One cars. If it's about Formula One cars, you want to make sure that you're talking about the latest race maybe, or a race coming up. In fact, it's actually a good idea to have 4 or 5 different talking points to keep you going through the stream, so that you might be able to start off with talking about what happened in last week's race or what's going to happen in the next race coming up. There's all sorts of races around. So one thing you need to do as a stream presenter is to know about your subject matter, and be able to lead conversations with the people. That's going to make your stream more engaging. You're noticing a repeat theme here? A couple of things to stay away from, especially if you're a new streamer, is religion and politics. Don't let that sort of thing come up if you've got a stream that's not actually based on one of those. If you do have a stream that's based on religion or politics, then chances are it's sort of too left-wing or right-wing, or one religion or another, and it's a support group and it's people that are like-minded. If, however, the discussion goes that way and you've got a general chat stream, or you've got a stream about a crochet or something like that, and it starts getting into politics and religion, chances are you're going to have people with strongly opposing opinions and views, and avoid that like the plague. Steer it away into something else. But do keep people talking. Make sure that you've got something going on all the time. Don't do the whole, hold on a second, and just go quiet for 30 seconds while you're reading a message on your phone or calculating something. That's really bad. That bit was just really boring, and if I'd carried that on too long, people would switch off here as well. Don't take yourself away from interacting and engaging, is that word again, with your audience. Keep that going. Keep an eye on the chats that are going along as well, and if nobody's really joining in, remember I said grab 4 or 5 notes on things you could talk about? Jump on to the next one. You can come back to one later on when some new people come on, sure, but if the chat's not progressing, go to the next one. Start getting people to give you their opinion on things as well, not just voicing your own. This is a two-way conversation that you need to have going with your audience. And wrap around all of that some really well-defined rules. Put them in your description underneath your chat. Make sure that you're saying that this is a stream for talking about this. You don't want this sort of language. Make sure you're adhering to the YouTube rules and conditions. If you're doing a grow stream, make sure you let people know this is not about subscriptions. It's about view time and sharing. If you do sub for sub, even if it's not a sub for sub stream, people tend to go that way and want people to subscribe. There's this fixation on that number. Watch hours is where it's at. Use your grow streams for that. Make sure people share videos. Don't sub just to get the sub numbers up. Share videos. Subs will come from that. And those subs that come from that will be valuable ones that will actually be useful in the future. They'll be real subscribers who did it because they're interested, not because they just want one back. Sub for subs never work. Number 7 is a small point, and it's all by itself, and you think that I could put this as part of something else, but it's really important, and I see so many people messing this one up. Don't use vertical video. Don't shoot with your camera up this way. Just people will go away from your stream. Look at the statistics of people who are shooting vertical video compared to people who are shooting widescreen, and you'll see that the vertical video ones, they've got an incredibly short retention span on their videos. It's just not engaging with their users. Their users have got screens that are sideways, horizontal like this, not like that very often, and the box on the YouTube display is 16:9 widescreen, so use that. Shoot widescreen, please. If you're pulling your TikTok videos across, maybe have 2 cameras set up doing your TikTok stuff. I know they love having the tall screen because they don't understand video properly, but if you're shooting something like that for dual purpose, it's probably worth having 2 cameras set up, and shoot your thing once for TikTok and another one for YouTube or something like that if you want to publish it on multiple platforms. Don't forget Facebook is widescreen as well. Most of the online streaming and video applications are. So this brings us to number 8. You're not always online. When you're streaming, it's an interactive, responsive thing, and it's interesting at the time while you're online. But when you've finished and you post your stream up onto your YouTube channel for people to come and watch later, they don't really engage with it as well, because it's a 2-hour video, and if they're not actually interacting with that stream at the time, sitting there watching the replay of that, well, it's boring. It truly is. It's really boring. So here's a really good piece of advice. Cut your stream down from that 2-hour live stream you did into a 10-15 minute set of highlights. Get those 20 really good points that are 30 seconds long each, and cut them out into a shorter video. Certainly don't leave that 15, 20 or 30 minutes, and you see this all the time, 15, 20 or 30 minutes of stream starting soon, just sitting there doing nothing. If you can't edit the rest of your stream, at least cut that off the beginning of it. You can do that just using YouTube Studio. You go into the editor tool and you just use the trim tool and boom, cut that away, and it's gone. And then if somebody does come along and they want to start watching your whole stream and you want to get some view time off that, at least they're not sitting there waiting and having to shuttle through. They're not going to go find the beginning of your stream. They're just going to click off and go somewhere else, because YouTube, they don't have time to do that, and they're not interested in it. Which brings me to number 9. Now, live streaming is a lot of work. You're probably sitting here thinking, I'd love to cut down my video, but it's going to take 4-6 hours to cut down my 2-minute live stream. And yeah, it probably will. But there's a trick here. Get yourself a wingman. Get yourself 2 or 3 wingmen, actually, is a really good idea. And here's why. Number 1, you can get one of those wingmen to keep an eye on your video. They're going to be there through your stream anyway, hopefully. And just keep an eye on it. And if there's something really interesting happening, get them to write down the time code. And then something else really happening, get them to write down the time code. And then what that person can do is give you those 20 time codes at the end of your stream, and you can just go to that time code, which is at the end of a funny bit, or the end of an exciting bit, or the end of something that happens, and you can just get the 30 seconds prior to each of those time codes, and boom, you've got a 10-minute video. That's going to be a lot quicker, because you don't have to shuttle through the whole 2 hours and find things. You don't have to watch it and rewatch it all the time. That will cut down the editing time to give yourself a highlights reel of your stream very, very quickly. That means that people can come along to your channel when you're not online, which is 90% of the time you're not there. 80, 90, 95% of the time you're not going to be there for these people to watch. So you want them to find a highlights reel, have a look, and they'll go, hey, that's an exciting live stream, because they're getting all the exciting highlights at once. And this is a really simple thing to do. And you could even pay one of your wingmen to do this. While I'm on wingmen, another good thing to do is to have your wingmen as moderators, so that if you get a troll or some idiot in the chat that starts rabbiting on or trying to post their link, you've got somebody else there that can take care of the chat for you while you're taking care of presenting to the camera. That's your job. That's the important thing to do, and that brings us back to that whole stopping to have a quick look through the chat and ban a couple of people. And when you're doing this, you're disengaging with the audience. Stay engaged with the audience. Get somebody else to take that stuff away. The third really great thing about having a few wingmen with you is, as soon as you go online, or even before you go online, you can have them starting the chat rolling, and you can get them chatting along, working in that message board and having a conversation rolling. And then when somebody new comes along, or a semi-regular person comes along, you can just all go, hey, hi to them, and make them feel like they're there. Engage with them. Not just you, but your wingmen can be engaging with them as well. So they're helping you stay focused on the presentation with your audience. They're taking care of all this administrative stuff. They can also be helping you with doing things like, if you're running a quiz, they can keep scores of who's doing what and what's the chat while you're asking questions. You might do a quiz all in a block. You might do a few quizzes during the night and something like that to keep people on the stream. They can keep track of the tally of all that sort of thing while you're doing it, and make sure that the moderation's being handled and the people are following the rules while you're talking. There's all these things that your wingmen can do, and they're going to be your best mates. Now it brings me finally to point number 10. and that is making a bit of money off your live stream. There's a whole pile of reasons why you should be doing that. You're putting a lot of time into this. You're probably asking 1, 2, or 3 of your friends to put some time into this as well, and you want to give them a bit back and that sort of thing. But also you want to keep up with your gear. You want to improve all of the time for your audience. And your audience quite often doesn't mind. Just about every live stream I've been on, regardless of what type of live stream it is, they're more than happy to just throw in $1 or 2 donations, quick chats, competitions, buying merch and all this sort of stuff. They're more than happy to help. Oh yeah, and YouTube memberships. A lot of live streams at the moment are getting YouTube memberships. That join button down there that pops up if you're running live streams. These channels are getting this really, really early now. That's something that YouTube is doing to support a lot of live streamers. Normally you have to wait till you've got 30,000 subscribers, and I've seen streams with 1,500 subscribers suddenly getting the membership benefits and tokens, and that's really great. It's making these streams much more viable at an early age. It's a hell of a risk that YouTube's taking, but they believe in the streaming platform obviously quite a lot, and the integrity of the streamers, so don't abuse that or you'll lose it for everybody. Affiliate links are a great way to earn money off your streams and your videos as well. Using something like the Amazon affiliate program, you can put links to everything you've got on your desktop into your video description, and people can go along and have a look. Refer to them occasionally during your streams to say, I've got this really cool keyboard here. By the way, if you want to have a look at the keyboard I've got, it's in the affiliate links. And if you want to see what computer I'm using at the moment, and my mixer and my monitor and my camera and my lights and the lenses I've got and some of these other things I've got here, you're going to find some of them in the affiliate links down below here, so go have a look at that. If you buy something, I get a commission off it. If you've got them in yours and somebody says, wow, I want the same keyboard that you've got, they go click that and buy it, you get a commission off it. I know a lot of people that are making more money off the commissions off affiliate links that they have in their video descriptions than they are off the YouTube AdSense by a big margin sometimes. So definitely have those. It's all of these things put together that are going to make this a viable internet business for you. And on top of the affiliate links, the other thing you can do is merch. This t-shirt that I'm wearing now is a merch one. That's actually most of the clothing I've got, to be completely honest, is merch clothing. More than half of my wardrobe is. And I've got socks, I've got t-shirts, I've got sweatshirts, I've got hats, all sorts of things like that I've just bought because I want to support other streamers and other YouTubers. And I love doing that, and it's not the cheapest stuff. Sure, I want to get a PewDiePie chair as well, but that will come one day. And all this sort of stuff, it all helps the streamer make a little bit of money. So if you're watching the stream and you want some merch, go ahead, get it, splurge out on a sweatshirt. He might make 10 or 15 bucks on it. Do a super chat, do whatever it is that they've got available. It only has to be a small amount, and all of these things add up, and they make a streaming platform much more viable, and it lets them get more stuff to build a better experience for you. More people join along, you get more subscribers, that sort of thing. Bloody brilliant, excellent. Don't be afraid to earn money. There is one caveat to that though. Don't sit there and tell people all the time, oh look, I need another pay, I need some more of this, I've got to make this much this stream, oh woe is me, all of that sort of thing. Begging for money is a huge turn off. Don't do that. Make it available and easy for people to do if they want to. Don't shove it down their throats, because they'll just go away in droves. People want to support you as a streamer. All you got to do is make the mechanisms available. They'll look for it. They know it's in the description. Everybody puts it there. Don't have big banners saying send a super chat if you want this, or anything you want you got to pay for. If you give somebody something first, give them a shout out, you probably find they'll give you a super chat in response, that sort of thing. So that's easy to do. It's easy to stuff it up. Just stay calm, let it happen naturally. If people want to, they will. If they don't, they won't. It doesn't matter. The more you let people control and drive the engagement on the stream, see that word again, the more people who are going to come. They'll invite their friends along. They'll tell other people about it. People will see your channel growing and become more popular. YouTube will put your link out in front of more people when you get more watch time. That's how it works. Get that watch time up. Don't scare people away. So there you go. There are my 10 things that you should do as a streamer to make sure that people become more engaged with your channel. You don't need to do all of these at once. You don't need to go overboard. You don't need to spend a huge amount of money on it. All you need to do is gradually improve. As you get some super chats, you might get enough to get some of these lights. Get a little bit more and you can get some of these lights, and that would be great. You might be able to get a better camera or a second camera or a phone camera or a Blackmagic A10 Mini for mixing and switching between the cameras, all of these sorts of things. As you go, one step at a time, and then I might even be able to get the PewDiePie chair so that I can do this. Actually, I think no, that chair doesn't do that. So anyway, I hope this has been really useful to you. If it has, and you know somebody else that might be interested, hit that share button down there and let them know about it. Also, make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss any of my other videos, including these two up here, which have both got really interesting stuff. And YouTube's had a look at their analytical data and what you're interested in. They've picked those especially for you, so go watch them. And I will see you in the next video I make, which will be soon. See you later.